Hi, friends. Happy Monday to you. Happy Marketing Advice Monday. I'm so happy that you're able to join me. If you are catching this live, perhaps you're catching a replay, totally fine. I know Mondays can be a little bit hit or miss for folks. If you are joining me live, please do say hello in the comments. Let me know where you're joining from. Make sure you can hear me okay. Last week we had kind of some technical difficulties, so hopefully we're all back to normal here. Today we're diving into a really exciting topic, something that's kind of been the conglomeration of quite a bit of research, of discussions, of observations that I have had as I have seen people navigate this whole private practice world when it comes to growing your practice in sort of today's land. And here's Bella, our mascot, hi sis, saying hello. These four marketing myths that we're going to talk about are myths, truly are these ideas that are being perpetuated right now in the private practice marketing space that are ultimately injuring people, injuring clinicians like you, if in fact they are going ahead and believing these myths. So we want to do a little bit of myth busting here. We want to talk about why these things are prevalent, but ultimately why they are myths, and why and what you need to keep in mind in order to combat these myths, in order to really grow your practice. Hi, Tracy. Bella says hello. Thank you so much for being here. So we're going to dive in. If this is your first time joining me for a live, we have a lot of new folks here in the group. My name is Anna Walker. I am a marketing and web strategist for private practitioners, just like you, and I help you get booked out with clients you love and who love you. That is at the heartbeat of everything that I do. It's the heartbeat of this discussion we're going to have today. And hopefully as you browse this group, as you kind of tune in, as you talk to other clinicians around here, you'll see that this group is all about doing marketing that is not just effective, because of course we want your marketing to be effective, but it's also authentic to you, authentic to the great work that you do, and authentic to the unique way you do it, the unique way you help your clients solve their problems. So that is me. Let's go ahead and dive into these four marketing myths, the ones that are costing you clients. And the very, very, very first myth that I want to start with, and this one is very near and dear to my heart because it's something that I have seen ever since I started working with private practitioners. This myth is that therapists aren't good marketers. And this may or may not be something that has explicitly been said to you, but chances are that you graduated from grad school knowing that you were really good at the work that you do, knowing that you had all the skills you needed in order to serve your clients, but walking away feeling like, now what? If you went straight from grad school into private practice, or perhaps you were in agency or group work for a while and are just now starting a practice, there have likely been some thoughts in your mind that tell you, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't be good at this. And I just don't have the know-how to make this happen. I want this group, I want the resources we talk about, the discussions we have, to empower you to know that you are actually, as a therapist, an incredibly good marketer. And let me tell you why. I bring a unique perspective to this world. You may or may not know that. If you're new here, you may not know that I'm a career marketer. That means I have been out in the industry, seeing what works, seeing the best practices around all kinds of different businesses. And it was about a year ago that I realized I am just helping rich people get richer. I don't enjoy this. I want to help people that are ultimately making a difference. So I spent months having conversations with therapists, reading, understanding what it means to be a private practitioner. And over the last year have just continued to learn and understand the nuances of what it is that you do. But one of the first things I realized as I began working with private practitioners is that you are all innately good at what makes marketing good. What I mean by that is that good marketing is about connection. Good marketing is about realizing that someone has a problem and helping them find a solution to that problem. Hopefully, of course, in good marketing, the solution to that problem is your services, is the fact that you offer, the therapy that they're looking for. But the fact is that good marketing is about relationship. It's about connection. It's about showing someone, hey, I understand you. It's about validating them, and it's about getting them to the place that they want to be. Is that not what you do every single day in the therapy room? You guys are so innately good at connection. You are so innately good at helping people feel seen and heard. And that is what good marketing is all about. That is what billion-dollar companies, and I mean this because I've worked with them, that is what billion-dollar companies pay millions of dollars to do every year. is to get someone who gets that connection. And here it is living inside of you and at the heartbeat of what you do every single day. So if you have ever sat and thought, I can't do this, I'm not good at marketing, I don't know what I'm doing, get back to what it is that you do every day. How is it that you help a client feel seen and heard in the therapy room? How do you help validate what it is that they're experiencing? How do you help guide them toward, the health and the wellness that they're looking for? Bring that into your marketing. Your marketing should just be an extension of what it is that conversation, what it is that you do inside of the therapy room. So the very, very, very first marketing myth, and one that's very close to my heart because I want you to understand this and because I'm an expert enough to know, is that you are in fact actually very, very good at marketing. And maybe you need to just understand what methods to use or what channels to put that heart into. But the fact is that you have the intangible that many, many, many business owners look for. So please know that and be encouraged about that. Okay, let's talk about number 2. We'll get a little bit now into actual marketing strategy, which is what we talk about a lot in this group. The next myth that I see a lot of is that private practice marketing is one size fits all. I've talked about this a lot in this group, and this one really, really gets me. And the reason for that is right now, there are a lot of private practice marketing experts out there giving good advice. Some giving maybe not so good advice, but a lot of them are giving great advice. But all they're telling you to do is repeat what it is that worked for them. They themselves are clinicians, which is great. They have insight and they have experience, but they're telling you that you have to do Google Ads. You have to do social media. You have to do blogging. And this simply isn't true. Private practice marketing is not one size fits all. The reason that this myth sort of perpetuates is because much of the marketing advice in this space is simply based on just trial and error. And the minute we find something that doesn't have any errors, people just start touting it as truth. As, well, Google Ads worked for me, so you need them for you. I tried a bunch of different methods and then Google Ads worked, so you have to too. The fact is that people are telling these types of things without having a foundational understanding of why these things work. Now, if you're new to this group, you may not know the term, the client journey. If you are, if you've been around for a little bit, for a little while, you likely know the 3 stages. And this is so important to understand. If you take nothing else away from this group, understand the client journey. When someone goes looking for therapy, they go through 3 different stages. They start completely unaware of you. They have no idea who you are. They don't know your name. They just know they have a problem that they need help solving. Then is the next stage. The next stage is where they become aware of you. So they learn your name. Maybe that's through Psychology Today. Maybe they talk to their doctor, whatever it is. There's all kinds of methods that can get them from unaware to aware. But just because they're aware of you doesn't mean that they're going to become a client of yours, because studies show that they'll actually visit between 5 and 7 websites of different therapists before making a decision. So how do we get them then from aware of you to sure of you? Sure of you is that final stage that says, yes, this is the one for me, and I'm going to go ahead and take that next step. Your clients have to cross that entire journey in order for them to go ahead and become a paying client of yours. What is happening here when people are telling you you have to do this one method is that they're saying, well, this one awareness method worked for me, so you have to do it too. That's not true. All you have to do is be able to get people through these 3 stages. You can do that through Psychology Today. You can do that through Google Ads. You can do that through, doctor referral letters or in-person referrals. You can cross that one stage. You can get from, aware to sure with a really, really effective website. That's the easiest way to do it. You can also do it by building trust with referrals that just kind of inherently transfers into that next stage and builds trust in you. You can do that through blogging. You can do that through social media. Do you see what I'm saying here? There's a lot of different combinations, right, of different things you can do, but ultimately you have to cover this journey. So if someone is out there asking for thousands of dollars to do Google Ads because that's the only way you can become a successful therapist, please don't give them your money. You can give them your money if you want to dive into Google Ads, because that's a great tactic. But it is not itself the one and only thing that you must do in order to be successful. The reason, like I said at the beginning, the reason this group exists is because we don't just want you to be effective in your marketing. We want you to be authentic. And part of that means that there might be marketing methods or channels or tactics that don't feel right to you. They might feel a little bit like, oh, it's just a little like salesy for me, or this doesn't feel like a good fit for my niche. That's okay. If something doesn't feel authentic to you, don't do it, because there are other methods out there that accomplish that same thing and that can work for you, because your clients will sniff you out if you are not being genuine in your marketing. And that's the most damaging thing you can possibly do. So that second myth is that private practice marketing is one size fits all. I'm going to stop right here. Tracy, I saw you had a comment. Since that skill is inherent to both life coaches and therapists, how do you discern the differences in marketing between the two? Tracy, that's a great question. The fact is that the ideal client for a therapist is different than the ideal client for a life coach. Someone looking for true therapy, if it's for disordered eating or depression or anxiety or grief or whatever it is, that's a different type of clientele than it is for a life coach. Life coach ideal clients are going to be maybe the ambitious career woman that is struggling to balance everything, or someone that's wanting to make a pivot in their personal life or their professional life. Those two people are very, very different. So the fact is, the foundation of good marketing is understanding who you're trying to reach. And so, yes, while that skill is inherent to both people and does make them inherently good at marketing, you can reach your ideal clients well because of your ability to connect. So I hope that's helpful. Let's dive into myth number 3. This one might feel a little bit backwards. This one is that everyone should be attracted to your practice. I see this one happen a lot, especially if you're new to private practice. So you want to get your name out there, be that, Psychology Today with a website, talking to people, doctor referrals, whatever. You want to get your name out there and you need to get your books filled, right? You need to pay the bills and you need clients. But the fact is that this myth is keeping so many clinicians from actually establishing themselves as the experts in their area. And it ultimately just leads them to being burnt out, serving clients that they know aren't a good fit just for the sake of paying the bills. So the fact is here that marketing is about attracting. We're talking about this first stage where we want them to become aware of us. We want to attract people in order to, want to learn more about us. But it's also about repelling. And this can be kind of hard to wrestle with, but it's true. Your website, your Psychology Today profile, your blogs, whatever it is, they should be so crystal clear about who you want to work with that they actually repel those that you don't want to work with. A couple weeks ago, I did a training on how to get booked out as a private pay practice. If you haven't watched it, go do that. Even if you take insurance, it's really, really helpful. But the story and kind of the example we used in there is Walmart versus Sunglass Hut. You can get sunglasses at both places. Walmart sells sunglasses and a whole bunch of other things, and Walmart is accessible to absolutely everyone. There's a time and a place for that. However, if you want to be known as the sunglass place, if you want to be known as the disordered eating therapist in your area, as the career therapist in your area, whatever that is, you have to be Sunglass Hut. And what does Sunglass Hut do in their marketing, in their customer experience, in all of those things? They repel the people that aren't a good fit for them. So this isn't about pushing people away. So if that's kind of where your mind goes, try and bring it back a little bit. Not attracting everyone means that you are attracting the best of who it is that you want to work with. The language and the copy and the content and the words that are in use on your website or in use in any of your marketing should be so laser focused on that client that you want to book that those not great clients realize that they're not in the right place, that you're not the therapist for them. And that's a good thing for you, because we want to fill your books with clients who love you, but also who you love, right? Who are energizing, who are not burning you out. And that allows you to attract those that you really do want to work with and avoid that situation that so many new private practitioners get into, where they've all of a sudden filled their books with clients that aren't a good fit, that aren't their ideal clients, simply because they've made concessions because they feel like they need to pay the bills. If you can start out in your practice, or if you're pivoting right now and you just want to take it to the next level, if you can be really, 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 really crystal clear about your niche, about your ideal client, about who it is that you want to work with, and if you can bring that into your marketing, that will allow you to genuinely attract higher quality clients and avoid those circumstances where you're having to turn people away and refer out because they're not right for you, simply because you have the right people knocking on your door, because you've set yourself up for that. So that's one that's a little bit challenging. So if you have questions, feel free to drop them into the comments. But as you think about marketing yourself, as you think about your practice, I want you to be a Sunglass Hut. I want you to be a Williams Sonoma. I want you to be a Tiffany and Company. And this isn't about price, although I want you to get paid your full fee. This is about being known as the expert for something in your space and therefore attracting people looking for your expertise. Because you have worked very, very hard to do what it is that you do. And I want you to be able to fill your caseload with the people that are the best fit for you so that you're not exhausted doing, your work every single day, that sort of thing. So I hope that one's helpful. That third myth that we just busted is that everyone should be attracted to your practice. Because actually good marketing isn't just about attraction, it's also about repelling those that aren't a great fit. All right, and last but not least, it looks like I might have a comment, except it's not showing up, which is strange. So let me just pull one up in a different window to make sure I'm not missing anything that y'all are wondering. In the meantime, let's dive into this fourth myth. And this fourth myth, I see a lot. Again, these are all myths that I see over and over and over again, is that you don't need a marketing plan. I see this everywhere. I am a part of quite a few different Facebook groups similar to this one. You likely are too. We may have met in one of those. And there will often be a new private practitioner who is posting there saying, hey, what are your best ways to get clients? And the answers that they'll get are be on social media, do Google ads, get in Facebook, send fruit baskets to your doctors, all these types of things, but never put a plan together. Everything is always very based on these, what we call tactics, what we call channels, right? Social media, website, doctor referral letters, instead of having a plan. Now, the good news is that your plan doesn't have to be this 30-page document detailing every single thing you're going to do for the next 6 months. Although my girl Andrea, if you're watching this, you are queen of that, and I respect that because a good plan is awesome. But if you're just starting out and you're wondering, how do I even begin? A plan is simply about asking yourself, how do I cover this journey? So the journey we just talked about, the 3 stages, go from unaware to aware to sure. How am I going to make sure that people are doing that? The 2 easiest ways to do this are Psychology Today and a strategic website. That's why I created the templates in the private practice copy shop so that you can have an expert written Psychology Today profile and an expert written website that can be the foundation of all of your marketing without spending thousands of dollars. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, visit walkerstrategyco.com/shop and grab a template. They really will transform your marketing. But when it comes to a plan, you have to have an idea of how you're going to get people across this journey, because otherwise you'll end up blogging because someone told you should blog to an audience of 0. Or you'll be sending people to a website that isn't doing its job and helping people become sure of you, and is actually causing people to just drop off. They land on your website, they realize you're not the one for them because you haven't done a great job of communicating that, and they leave in search of a different therapist that does, and they never come back. We want to avoid that. So if you are sitting here wondering, like, do I have a marketing plan? Just ask yourself, do I have a way for people to become aware of me? Have I put some time into that? And do I have a way for people to become sure of me? Do I have a plan for that? If your answer to both of those things is yes, then you have the foundation of a marketing plan. You can start adding on top of that. That can be your foundation. And after that, maybe social media is a great thing to add. Maybe blogging is a great thing to add. But you need to make sure you've covered this journey. If you're not doing that yet, then all of a sudden now you know where you need to start marketing your practice. So that fourth myth that I see too often is that you don't need a marketing plan for a private practice. That's just for big businesses. That's not true. As a private practice, you must have a plan for how you're going to get people from stage 1 to stage 3 and ultimately reaching out and saying, hey, I want that free consultation. I want to become a client of yours, and I want to, form that relationship with you. That's that fourth myth. Let me catch the questions that appear to be coming that I'm not able to see. Daniel Edwards, I hate Psychology Today. I haven't gotten a single referral from it. I understand that. I know that Psychology Today can feel hit or miss. And depending on your area, depending on your niche, depending on all those types of things, it can be tough. Psychology Today, you may or may not know this, is 100% randomized. So you can't actually rank higher the way that you can in places like Google. You can't pay to play like you can in Facebook. And so Psychology Today is really, really critical when it comes to standing out when you do arrive on page 1 for a page 1 or 2 or 3 when someone is searching for a therapist. That's why we talk about things like the hook, those first 1 to 2 sentences being so critical in compelling people to reach out to you. Of course, if you're in a super saturated area, it can be more challenging. However, for the low cost, if you can get 1 to 2 clients a year, it becomes worth the investment. If, like Daniel, you realize that it's not a great fit for you, then consider another, again, awareness method, because like we talk about, not one size fits all. Yeah, Tracy, I think it very much depends on the market. You're absolutely right about that. Tracy, I struggle with this idea as well as niching. What about for folks who are trained or practice as more generalists? I've also had staff who are new to the field who really need a generalist caseload to build experience. I think that's absolutely okay. And there's actually, there are ways to talk about and to what we call differentiate yourself, even if you serve a wider population. Here's an example. If you're a generalist and you also offer weekend hours, you also offer evening hours, that's a way for you to stand out to people and connect with them on a different level. Now, that isn't necessarily saying, hey, I'm an expert in disordered eating, or I'm an expert in grief, and claiming sort of a problem area as a niche. But what that does give you is what we would call an only you factor that says, hey, this is how I'm different from others in your area. So if you need to have, a larger or broader audience to serve or to gain experience or that sort of thing, that just means that you need to differentiate using something else, using another sort of angle on your practice. Often that's something like convenience. That's hours, off-hour type appointments or online therapy or things like that. That can sort of broaden your horizon a little bit. But the fact is that when people are looking to hand over their hard-earned money, they're looking to do that to someone that is an expert in what it is that they do. So if you are a generalist, I still recommend that you claim 3 to 4 different areas, even if they're broad, where you can get a little more specific so that when people land there, they say, yes, I'm still experiencing those things. She does clearly understand me, instead of just talking about therapy and kind of just this larger nebulous discussion on your website and things like that. Absolutely, Tracy. Totally. Yes. Thinking more of staff interns. I think interns struggle with this, and interns need the time, like you said, to learn and to figure out what their niche is. So it's just about talking about what they do in a way that still says, hey, I'm an expert, and here's how I can serve you. Definitely. So, all right. Did I get all of our questions here? I think so. Perfect. All right. Well, folks, I hope this was helpful. We busted 4 really big myths. Let's review them again. Number 1 is that you as a therapist are not a good marketer. It's just not true. You are. You have the innate skills that people pay thousands of dollars for. Number 2, private practice marketing is one size fits all. It's not true. You can do a ton of different things and grow your practice. Number 3, everyone should be attracted to your practice. That's not true either. You should write and market yourself in such a way that you attract the people you want to work with, so much so that you repel those that you don't. And that's what helps you avoid burnout, and that's what helps you build a caseload of clients that you really, really love and are energized by. And 4th, you don't need a marketing plan. Private practices don't need marketing plans. Again, not true. We want you to have a plan about how you're going to cover that entire client journey, and then add strategies, add tactics on top of it. But if you're not covering that journey, you will miss clients, and I don't want that to happen for you. So I hope that this training was helpful, that I've given you some things to think about. If you have any questions about the ones that we've been chatting, like the ones that we've been chatting through here, feel free to drop them in the comments. I would love to discuss some more with you, and I will be back next week for another marketing training. I appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon.